What's up, Austin here, and this is the G4. Damn it, Tim, this is the LG G4. This is LG's latest flagship, the successor to the G3 and the competitor to the Samsung Galaxy S6, the HTC One, and of course the iPhone. But how does it stack up? Well, actually pretty damn well. The G4 is pretty similar to the G3, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Let's start off with the design. You're either going to love the design choices that they made or you'll be completely indifferent. Meh. The G4 has an ever so slightly curved 5.5-inch display, which at first sounds huge, but actually works out pretty well. The bezels aren't too big, so the phone doesn't seem massive in your hand. As you may have noticed, there are actually no buttons on any side of the device aside from the IR blaster on the top and the headphone jack and micro USB port on the bottom. Everything else is located on the back of the phone. The volume rocker and the power button are located directly beneath the 16 megapixel camera, and you might be thinking that's a pretty odd spot for them to be, but it actually works out better than you'd think. For the most part, my index finger naturally rests at this spot anyways, and the volume buttons have a distinctive texture to them which makes them easier to feel for and creates a nice aesthetic. If you don't like the placement of the power button, you can just double tap the screen to turn it on. The back of the phone has a diamond texture that has a silver shine to it. Obviously the phone comes in different colors, silver, white, and gold, but you can also get a leather-backed version. Now, I haven't had the opportunity to use or feel one in person, but from the pictures that I've seen, they look pretty good. But this was the design choice that I was talking about. You have two options, plastic or leather, and LG's hoping that the leather version will feel premium enough for those of you that want a premium smartphone, which this is, but the fact of the matter is it doesn't feel as good when you pick it up as, say, a Galaxy S6 or HTC One M9. So why did they make this trade-off? This is really the only flagship available that allows you to swap out the battery, which isn't a big deal to me because the battery is huge. It's 3000 milliamp hours. To put that into perspective, the Galaxy S6's battery is about 2500 milliamp hours. But if you're one of those people that shed a tear when you saw that the new Samsung phone wasn't going to have a swappable battery or expandable storage, this is basically the phone for you. It has a micro SD card slot right above the battery. So if 32 gigs isn't enough for you, then, well, here you go. On to the phone. It's pretty damn good. The screen is Quad HD with what LG calls an IPS Quantum display. It's 25% brighter, has a 20% wider color range, and improved contrast when compared to the G3. Now obviously you're not going to be able to tell the difference when you're just using the phone, but overall the display looks really good. The colors aren't too saturated, the screen gets really bright, and everything is incredibly sharp, especially text. Now let's move on to the performance. Again, it's pretty damn good. Like I've said before, nowadays, if you buy a flagship phone, it's going to perform like a flagship phone. No matter what you're doing, it's going to be fast. Apps load really fast, there's absolutely no lag whatsoever, and everything performs really smooth. Playing games is super enjoyable with the performance and the big, bright, and sharp 5.5-inch screen. Really, the only thing that I don't like about it is the fact that they put these speakers on the backside instead of the underside. Why do people still make these games? They're all the same damn thing. Yeah, so performance is good, that's a given, but how's the experience? Actually, pretty damn good. This is like the one Android phone whose skin doesn't make me want to throw it out the window. Samsung, take notes. The G4 is running the latest version of Android, which is 5.1, and LG's latest software, UX 4.0. For the most part, it feels like stock Android, which is a good thing, and the features that they did add don't get in your way. I'll only cover a few of them, but to start off, once you turn on the phone, it shows you what the weather is outside. For instance, it was thunderstorming outside and I saw this. Pretty dope. Once you log in, you'll notice a widget that shows you the time, the weather, and gives you a few important updates each day. This is called Smart Notice. It occasionally gives you new cards whenever, say, your friend has a birthday or a new photo gallery was created for you. It also gives you like a daily tip to get you through the day. The weather will remain fair for the rest of the day. Very hot and humid. Limit your physical activity. Thanks, Mom. To the left of that, there's a smart bulletin, which is kind of like the drop-down menu on the iPhone. It shows you your health stats, whatever's up next on your calendar, gives you some music playback controls, basic settings. But it also has smart settings, which is actually pretty useful if you want to personalize it. For example, I have mine set to open up my music app whenever I plug in headphones. It's nothing big, but it makes me using my phone a bit more intuitive. Speaking of intuitive, there's a heavy emphasis on multitasking. Horrible transition, it's not intuitive. You can open up two apps side by side, but it doesn't work that well. And performance isn't the issue, it's just the fact that there isn't enough space. Like if I need to send a text message about something on a web page, once I tap the keyboard, half of the screen is gone. A much better solution comes in the form of quick apps. If you just need to do something really quickly, you can tap on a quick app and it'll appear in a small window. If you need to go to another app, rather than switching over completely, you can make the window transparent, do whatever it is you need to do, and then quickly go back to the app. Much better than the other form of multitasking. The only problem is with both of these, they only work with a very small number of apps. But overall, I really like this UI. It's clean and simple. All of the stock apps have clean, minimalistic square icons, and they actually look and function like stock Android apps with material design. All of them. If for some reason you're going to throw your own apps on here, this is how you should do it. There wasn't any bloatware installed, but this phone was sent to me by LG for a review, so your mileage may vary. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the camera, and you can probably already guess what I think about it. It's pretty damn good. No, but actually, it's like really good. Now, I'm not a professional photographer, but if I was, this would probably be my phone of choice. And that isn't to say that this is the best camera for every situation. For example, the video on the G4 isn't that great, and I would argue that the iPhone 6 probably has a little bit better low light performance, but it gives you enough flexibility if you really want to tweak your photos. This phone has full manual controls, which is great for people who actually know what they're doing. So you can change just about every setting: white balance, shutter speed, ISO, aperture, everything. You can even shoot in RAW. If you don't know what you're doing, the auto setting also gets pretty consistent results. Every picture that I took came out great. All the images are super sharp and had great colors. The camera is 16 megapixels and I could still see a great level of detail when I put them up on my 32-inch monitor. Low light performance can get a little grainy, but it's still not bad by any means. Overall, it's an amazing camera and I was extremely impressed by it, especially its dynamic range, which the front camera has absolutely zero of. Every selfie I took outside, the sky was completely blown out. The colors are extremely dull, but maybe I'm just expecting too much after seeing the rear-facing camera. Quick side note, unfortunately, no, my face is not that perfect. It's just some beauty filter that I forgot to turn off. If only. And while we're on the topic of negatives for this camera, video is no bueno. Now, don't get me wrong, the image quality is great. It can shoot in 1080p and 4K, but the optical image stabilization is just a little bit too aggressive. Basically, if there's a lot of motion or camera shake, the camera will try to reduce it by slightly moving the camera in the opposite direction. The only problem is it overcompensates and the resulting footage looks completely unnatural. Fix this and you've got a decent video camera, but otherwise, you better hold them hands steady. So, quick recap. Pretty basic design, big, bright, beautiful screen, incredible battery life, removable battery and expandable storage, great software, awesome camera, and not so awesome video. I think that about wraps it up. So what's the verdict? Well, despite some flaws, I have no problem recommending this phone to anyone who wants a great camera, expandable storage, or a swappable battery. Other than the camera, there's really no wow factor to the phone, but the features that it gets right, it really gets right. I think the only thing that I would want them to add is maybe like a fingerprint sensor where the LG logo is. But other than that, I have to say, it's pretty damn good. So that is my review of the LG G4. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down there, the big red button, so that you can get all of my latest updates. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. What?